Good evening, and welcome to this Throwback Thursday edition of the Angela Ray Show. Shout out right now to everyone who is catching our broadcast or will be catching our broadcast on the replay. For those of you who will be hopping on live, I want to give you a few moments to get on, and then we'll be getting started with our show. When you log onto the broadcast, when you're viewing, make sure that you chime in. Let me know where you are watching from tonight. Hey, Eve from Atlanta. Thank you so much for being on the broadcast tonight. Again, this is the Thursday edition of the Angela Ray Show. Hope that you all have had a great week thus far. And of course, there's one more day left until the weekend. If you are still sheltering in place like I am, the weekend is probably just about the same as the other days of the week. We're going to go ahead and jump right in with our Ray of Motivation moment. And our Ray of Motivation moment for tonight, I'm going to ask you the question: are you getting enough to eat? Are you getting enough to eat? You know, Memorial Day just passed. And for many people, even this year, with everything that's going on with the pandemic, Memorial Day is the unofficial start to the summer. Now, for those individuals who maybe set a goal to lose weight, drop a few pounds, get more fit in 2020, a lot of people fall off that bandwagon within about 2 weeks. And so the start of the summer is a way to get back on. Now, at any given time, you know, there are people who are following all kinds of diets, you know, cutting carbs, cutting calories, cutting meat. There are so many different ways that people try to drop those extra pounds. You know, I had a friend, and I have no idea how or why her doctor prescribed this, but she was on a doctor prescribed diet, eating only 500 calories a day, which I think is dangerously low, but that was the plan her doctor had prescribed to her. And as I think about cutting calories and eating less, I think about the fact of, you know, when I am completely missing meals, you know, if it's just fasting with water and juice, I can really tell a difference in the way my body operates. But with water and juice, I can definitely keep going for a few days. But imagine, if you will, if you completely cut out all water and all juice for not just a week, not just 2 weeks, but an entire month. Do you think you can make it? Do you think you would survive an entire month without actually putting some type of food, water, and nutrient into your body? I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV sometimes. But my guess is probably no. So let's apply that to your spirit and your mental stability. If you are not feeding your spirit and your emotional well-being on a regular basis, then you'll start to get weak in those areas just as you would if you weren't eating enough physical food. There are things that feed your spirit and your soul. So, my question to you tonight is: are you getting enough soul food? And that is our Ray of Motivation moment for this Thursday. Well, I'm excited about our special guest for tonight, Thursday. We are continuing with our series in honor of June being Black Music Month. And our artist tonight, our recording artist tonight, I was like, where's she looking? Where's she looking? Where's she looking? And we actually didn't even know we were going to be kind of twinning tonight. Definitely.
Yes.
Our artist tonight has opened for the likes of Ron Isley, Kim, and Sheila E. She's performed at festivals all around the country, and some of the premier jazz festivals in the country as well, including the Atlanta Jazz Festival, which many of us really missed attending this year because of the pandemic. She is a singer and a songwriter and an actress as well. And she also has a corporate life too. So please help me welcome Yolanda Rabun. Yolanda, thanks so much for being on the Angela Ray Show tonight.
Angela, thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted, very delighted.
So, we were talking just a little bit before we went live. So I just want to find out, what are you doing outside of the artistic stuff these days?
Oh, I am a corporate attorney still, and I am working nonstop still because I have the fortune of working for a large computer technology corporation, and we are coming up with a lot of solutions to help solve the problems associated with finding a vaccine and quickly enough. So
Okay.
I am lawyering every day, every day.
So I have often wondered, with everything that you are doing, how in the world do you balance this life? Because I think that there are some people who may feel like they have to completely give up on their corporate jobs, their 9 to 5s, their bread and butter, however they want to put it, to pursue their artistic endeavors. And you have been one of the few people that I have met who've done it successfully. You have the music career, you have more than one music project. You've Girl, you even do plays. And I stopped doing plays until last year for a long while, because plays are time consuming. That's rehearsal every single night. Then there's the run of the show. But you've managed to do that in addition to being a wife and a mother who, was running your kids' careers at one time too. How have you made all of this? How do you balance it all?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's a balance. I think that's where people get it wrong, right? Or people run into problems. I think that it
Okay.
is a matter of understanding that there really are no limitations on our life that were given to us from God, right? I believe that if you go from that vantage point, you understand that part of the process of being you, who you were born to be, all the things you were born to be, comes with understanding the concept of shifting responsibilities and shifting gears, if you will, to
Mm-hmm.
allow everything that you've been blessed to do to be done. So time management is very important. And also being organized is very important.
So you are both right and left brain, because I think both of those working together. Oftentimes, artists, we lean towards one side, but sounds like you have very, very strong left and right brain activity and implementation in your
Yeah,
everyday life.
that's right. And it works. And I have seen artists, though, who I think we all are right and left brain. I just think that there's a tendency to lock yourself into what you're most comfortable with. And so you don't sharpen that skill, right? If you take the time to actually sharpen the skill that you're the weakest at, then you can become strong in that area and do more things. So I think that everybody is capable of doing everything that I do. It's just a matter of understanding what your weakness is or where you can be more strong, and then attacking that so that you can do and be all the things that you want to be. We grow up, in this world, and we're introduced, I think, to what our impossibilities are as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
our possibilities are. And so,
Oh.
look, thank you for the twinning comment. Yes, yes. And so you just got to change the way we think. I think the pandemic, along
Mm-hmm.
with the strife that we're experiencing, has everything to do with the need to change the way we think about things. With the pandemic, we got this opportunity to look inward and organize our lives more, get closer to friends, get closer to family. And with this hot mess of a situation we are in, with the police brutality, we are finally, we as African Americans are finally being heard, at least by more people around the world. And we're finally getting people to start listening and changing the way they think. Because, I've had so many people come to me who said, I had no idea. And I'm thinking, how in the world could you have not known? And again, it's because they have we're stuck in this mindset of this is how things are. And what this is happening to us today is a situation where people are now challenged to change the way you look at Black people, the way you look at the police, the way you look at our government system, just the way you think. And that's a good thing. That's a very
Definitely. Definitely a good thing, because I've known you for some years. I know that you have had a diverse group of people, both in your friend circle and in your inner circle. And you have spent time sharing Black culture with people who are not Black. Those people that you've kind of, you've been a part of their lives for many years. Do you feel those people were more aware and weren't as shocked as the events of the past couple of weeks have unfolded? Or did this give them an opportunity to now feel free to share what they knew all along?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question. I think that for the most part, many of them are aware. And but there are some who are also, their head is in the sand. And so while they were aware, they weren't active in standing up. And I think that they're the ones who are being called to the forefront to make a difference in how they respond. Most of them, yes, but ignorance is bliss. And so it's easier to say you didn't know and not
Mm-hmm.
than it was before. So my biggest concern are my kids, because they are growing up and now coming to understand that people who are their friends like them because of who they are, not because they're Black. So let me say that again. They like them because of who they are, not because they're Black. And therefore, they're starting to find out that those people don't like Black people. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're realizing they're the Black friend, again, because they're Black, but not because they appreciate who they are culturally, or intrinsically from who they were born to be. So
Mm-hmm.
that's tough. My son. So my people ask me how am I doing. I'm exhausted and I'm tired because I am required to sit and listen to them and hear their awakenings about people who they thought were their friends, and help them talk through that situation. And literally right before you called, my son FaceTimed me. He was out marching, protesting. And so my heart is like, so
Yeah.
I'm mothering with information I have been sharing. My husband and I have been sharing with them since they were small. That is now understood. Now is coming to the point of, mommy, this is what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, but all is well because we have music,
Yeah,
right?
yes. I was talking to my guest last night about how music can unify, how, there can be people who may not even be talking to each other, not because they're angry. They just may be on two different sides of a room, of an auditorium, of a football field, of a concert hall. And all of a sudden, that song comes on and everybody is on one accord. In
Mhm.
your music career, have you found those moments, those unifying moments with people in the audience?
I would say absolutely. And as a matter of fact, I pick the songs that I sing based on my ability to reach people, Black, white, whatever, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that my job as a musician is honestly to be a storyteller through the lyrics and the music that I'm blessed to use. I've written songs, but I also have sung songs like, for example, I Hope You Dance. That is a country song that reaches people beyond what I even thought, could be done. And I think that's very, very important. And honestly, when we were raising our kids, we brought them up on Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Stevie Wonder, and look, one of my idols, Nina Simone, and so they have a breadth of understanding of how that music can unify, but also educate. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing for me too, that the music not only brings us together because of how it makes us feel, but how it makes us think. And that's why music, and especially Black music, is really pivotal to our lives.
Okay, so you're an attorney, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're an artist. Thinking about a typical day, not a typical work day, but a typical performance day where you have these other responsibilities. What does that look like? Because I remember, I think it was so real that I think I attended that CD release.
Yeah,
And I just remember at the end of the night seeing you. It was like you flipped the script, not in a bad way, but you were like, okay, I've already performed. Let me take off my shoes. Let me let me get in the truck. And I don't know if you remember this. You're like, I meant to give you a CD. You tossed it from your truck to my car. It was so funny after seeing you, on stage, kind of do your thing. It was hilarious. But what is one of those typical days like for you when you are preparing to do your art?
oh gosh, that's a great question. It usually starts very early in the morning. I'll say that, because I usually warm up, right? Especially if I have to do a lot of talking before I have to sing. And it's typical to, I guess, of a regular day. I try and meditate or do some form of offering of gratefulness for my life, and so there's a quiet time in there. And then it is a race. It is honestly, it can vary because some days, I have to go to a makeup team, or I have to find what I'm wearing, and gosh, Angela, I should have thought about what this answer could possibly be because it's one that people ask me, and it varies because remember I'm also a theater actor, and so I can tell you situations where I have my laptop attached to my hip, and especially in theater, I will be backstage working, and then go on stage and sing a song, and come off. Now, usually, um, and I don't see people may find that like distracting, but I don't because that is all the fabric of who I am. Like I don't compartmentalize myself to the point that I'm only singing here, I'm only
Mhm.
lawyering here, I'm only doing that. Although I do have to do that. So there are times when I must be in a hyper super focused mode to execute what I am doing. So for example, right now I am not lawyering. Okay. I'm not on my laptop trying to answer a question. But rest assured, if my phone beeps and there's something that comes through and I can answer it while I'm talking to you, I will do that. Uh, so um, it again, it varies. I try and be as respectful to the people around me as much as I am to myself and to my audience, whether that audience is a theater audience or a concert. Let's see, the last concert I did, opened for Jill Scott. And I remember I had to work that day. So from 7 in the morning till maybe noon, I was working. And then at noon, I got off and I met my makeup artist. And then I met the band because we had an early sound check. So I had to do sound check. Once sound check was done, then I went back to my space and checked my email and made sure everything was fine. Even though I was off, I'm always on. Check with my family because they needed to make sure they got there. It is I don't know, honestly, it's a joy. It's a joy to have all of that opportunity to to bless other people with the gift God has given me, but also bless anyone else who is a part of that journey to be able to share what I share and what they share. So I think we're all connected in this world. We have to figure that part out, and we're missing out when we're not tapping into all the things that we're called to do, right?
Mm.
People can do things, but are they doing what they're called to do? And when you do what you're called to do, which could be so many wonderful things, then you don't find the what appears to be the conflict. You don't find the uh, I don't know, the pain or the impossibilities of being able to do it because you're just living, you're just
Mm-hmm.
enjoying. So yeah.
Got a question from one of our loyal viewers, Mr.
Hmm.
Edwin.
Oh
Can you
gosh,
see it?
harder they I can see it. And so the question is,
Okay.
was it hard to survive and thrive in the corporate world or the entertainment industry? They're both uh, um, they're both something to deal with. Um, they both have their ups and their downs. They both have good and bad. They both have evil and, really righteous, grateful moments. So it's not an either or. Actually, I think being in both of them allows me to navigate between the two because
Mm.
I see the same players. I just see them in different clothing. I see them in different roles. You're going to have your instigators. You're going to have your promoters. You're going to have your backstabbers. They all exist in all the same place. It's all a large playground as far as I'm concerned. And I just, put on my tennis shoes and my gym clothes, and I go out and I play. And I know which apparatus to play on, right? I
Right?
know which clicks to stay away from, which is all of them. Um, and, uh, and I just try and have fun. So my life is about finding the fun, striving to be happy, and uh, and helping everyone again who's a part of that, who wants to come play on the playground with me. Come on, play. Helping them to learn what I've learned, and also make their choices, and hopefully survive.
Now, you've put out a few projects, So Real, Christmas Time, Hold On to Your Dreams, which is so inspirational. Is there one that is your favorite, not because of the music or anything, but just because of the process that you did when you were recording?
It's a good one. Each process for each album was completely different. Um, my favorite music was the Christmas album. And I
Okay.
think Christmas has that sentiment of hope and
Hmm.
life and reflection. I love that. So
Yeah.
and that's the thing that I grew up on, the music that just made my heart say I wanted to be Christmas all the time. Right? But process wise, I would say my Yolanda album, which was the last album I did, was the most fun because I had more creative. I had creative responsibility for all of them, but because I had done two already. I walked
Hmm.
knowing what I wanted, and I'm actually recording now, so I'm taking everything.
Ooh.
Yes, a little known secret that Angela.
Ah.
Hello,
That's what I was going to say. Do we have the exclusive here?
hello. As a matter of fact, people should know that you and I go way back. When maybe authored your first book, and you we come to my home for some party we were throwing, and you were reading us poetry, and it was amazing. So when people hear your rays of motivation, they should understand that they're getting top notch and you know author extraordinaire. That you didn't just come up with that stuff. You've been doing this for quite some time,
Well,
right?
thank you. I don't even, now I remember coming to your house, and I remember a couple times was for Kwanzaa.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't even remember sharing anything from the book. I don't even remember that at all.
As a matter of fact, I bought your book, your first book. I don't know if you remember this. And I remember you going to your car. So you talking about me throwing a CD to you from my car? I got your book from your car.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that one I don't remember. But yeah, the CD toss was hilarious. Probably too because you were driving a truck that night too. I don't know if you remember that. You was driving a truck that night.
I
I
did.
was like, okay.
Right. So yeah, I went all the way from, you're right, being on the stage and doing what I did to you know, I try and keep it real. I don't I watched enough of behind the scenes and what is it, unsung, that to
Hmm.
be them or not want to make some of those same mistakes. So
Right.
I surround myself with people who try and make me aware of the where I am in the moment, and I don't have time for. I just don't have time for the mess getting, you know, it in my head. So I see there is a question. Yes, my mother, the wonderful Capitola Williams. But I missed it. It went away.
Uh-oh, let's see if we can get it back.
Yes, she is. In what ways has she influenced me? So my mother was probably one of the first people who didn't put limitations on me. Right? If I wanted to, I was a gymnast. I used to do gymnastics. What to do gymnastics? She took me to a gymnastics school to learn, and that's how I learned to tumble and do all kind of crazy flips and whatnot. I was in pageants. I was in, as a matter of fact, she people joke about how I speak, and I articulate in the songs that I sing, but also in my speech because of my mother. I think when we were, you know, she would ask me, you know, introduce yourself, and I go, I'm Yolanda Williams, and she'd say, what? I'm Yolanda. And she would say, no, your name is Yolanda Williams.
And that's her. That is her.
I became Yolanda Williams, and everything I spoke, I was very clear. So you didn't have to wonder, you know, what did she just say? And I'll tell you an experience. I was opening for Jennifer Holliday down at the Carolina Theater, and when we were done, you know, I took pictures, and she said to me, "I just want you to know, you articulate extremely well in your music." And I was thinking, thank you. But that was a compliment. That was my mother. That was attributable to
Hmm.
my, because it was important to, if you're gonna sing a song to people and expect to affect their lives, they got to know what you're singing. So it's not bad. There are many singers out there who you have no idea, they're slurring all the time with their singing, but the music is so fantastic they feel good. How about giving them really good music and a message? And that's where that. So
How
I
about
can't.
that?
I don't know where I could begin to tell you how much my mother's influenced my life, because even now today, it wasn't just when I was younger that she was important in my life. It's even now today. So when you see me on stage with these, you know, wonderful gowns, that's my mother influencing that, if not making the gown. Um, there.
Okay.
Right, it's true. And she's a critical eye. You know, I don't always take her advice, and I'm sure we butt heads on those moments, but she certainly is that artistic, really wise influence on how to think about things that I might not have otherwise thought about. So, wonderfully. And it's been just me and she. So, who navigated my life in the music world, if you will. I am an only child, and I was raised by a single black mother. So, and here I am. I say she did all right.
Miss Cap did all right. She did more than all right.
Okay. Um, ooh, good question. When was the moment that I noticed that I was good and I got this?
Mm.
It was young. I was young. You know what it was? I was in the Georgia Talented Teen contest. Hal Jackson's Georgia Talented Teen contest. I was
I
13 years
remember that.
old. And I in that competition, I sang, I did an acting bit, I did some point, I played the violin, and I did some. Yes, exactly. That was my talent. And
Okay, then.
I was 13 years old, and I won. So, and I was competing against some really, I thought, wonderful people. in this arena. And in that, when I won, the youngest girl in the pageant, it was that moment of, oh yeah, you know what you're doing, you got this. But it was also my moment of defeat. So that moment of realization that, 13, you really know where you're going, what you're doing. It was my moment of defeat because my mother knew, and that's probably why I am the way I am now, that with all those things, when you know you got this, it can go to your head. And I went
Mm.
to the national competition, and I crashed and burned, crashed and burned, and I crashed and burned because when I went, I didn't rehearse.
Mm.
And I went on. They send you on these cruises. It was really great, and I got up and I sang every time I could, and I
Uh.
and I showed everybody my talent or what I was wearing, anything I could do to let people know I was there. I did, and it was a mistake that has lived with me forever. And I learned from that um, just because you may be blessed with all those talents and can do all those things, it doesn't mean that you got to go yell and tell everybody about it, because it's going to show up in your work, and your work comes with rehearsal, and your work comes with humility, and your work comes with having some kind of foundation from whence you come, the fact that they're gifts and they all can be taken away. It was embarrassing. I had all my family come up to DC for the competition, and I was good. I had it. I was supposed to win, and I crashed and burned. And that experience it changed my life. 13 years old. And from then on, I already knew everything I did was a blessing. Everything I did was, something I had to continue to work at to be better, because it was always going to be someone better than me who did the work, right? Because as far as I was concerned, those kids weren't as talented as I was, and yet I lost. So what was it about me that I was not in tune with, that I needed to fix if I was going to be successful in this world? And that's what I did.
That happened to me with my speaking career. I
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first time I had been so used to winning from the time I was in elementary school. So when I got to college, yeah, it was eye opening. I didn't have to practice as much because I was quote unquote that good. But yeah, it is humbling,
Yes, it
isn't
is.
it?
Right. So
It is
even now,
so humbling.
I'm practicing my music theory, right? I know how to read music, but do I? Right? I know how to sing, but I still warm up, right? I still
Hmm.
have to study songs and understand what my mission is. So even, and I do that in the law, right? I know a lot of. I'm pretty sharp, I think, but I don't know everything. So I'm listening to my colleagues more. I'm listening to how other people have solved problems so that I can be a better attorney, so that I can be again, a better singer, a better mother, a better wife. There's always room for us to be better, right? To improve and help others improve as well. So,
Definitely. So as we get ready to wrap up, if there was a piece of advice you could offer to someone who was interested in pursuing a career in music,
in music,
and they in music, and they believe that they have the gift, what would
hmm
it be?
oh, it would be to study your craft, right? And it would also be to study in the music, study the business, right? This is that left brain, right brain stuff. You can
Hmm.
be in the world, but if you sign the wrong contract, right? If
Ooh.
you the wrong person, it doesn't matter. And there are many, many talented people out there who just have not seen the light of day. And I know that they're not where they need to be. It's because they're so busy trying to be a star, so busy trying to be famous, that they don't even understand the business of what they're doing. Are you putting yourself in a situation where you don't want to sign that contract because you're going to owe people money? As a matter of fact, I know people who come to me and ask me to sign a contract to pay them in case I didn't perform. Why would I do that? But
Right.
it's deep in the contract. And unless you read it, you don't see that. And there are a lot of people who sign that contract because they want to be exposed. They want to be out.
Hmm.
Well, there are people who, for example, will take a gig for $50 when clearly the person could have paid them 500, but they devalue themselves because they just want to be out there. And you got to be careful about that. Don't get me wrong. There's some things where you do things for charity. You do things at no cost. I get that part. But when you do it all the time, that's not
Right.
good. So my advice would be, again, in general, to hone your craft, right? To study about it, to study the business, to continue to practice, and oh, probably the most important, seek wise counsel. Have somebody you talk,
Mm-hmm.
ask somebody, right? I've actually seen young people who I know were getting ready to get into an opportunity, and I didn't tell them what to do. I just tapped them on the shoulder and said, "If you want to ask me a question, ask me, right? Because I can see stuff that you can't see. Ask me the question, and I'll be more than happy to try and help them out." And some have come and said, "Thank you, wow," and some have not, and that's okay too.
So, we were just talking about mothers. We were talking about your mom. And look who just popped up my broadcast tonight. My mama.
Look, Angela, we twinning. Okay,
I know, right?
our mothers have been raised, through chat, and so what else?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, Michelle. I'm glad that that was helpful to you.
Yeah, Michelle is a very talented singer. She's also an actress as well, out of Atlanta. So,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm.
from it.
Hmm.
So, and I went to the Northside School of the Performing Arts. So I've been trained up in, traveled all around the world, sang for Ronald Reagan, worked with Isaac Hayes. All that was through the School of the Performing Arts, and that blessing. Listen, those hardships, I learned rejection also there, right? Because even after that 13-year-old experience, I went to Northside School of the Performing Arts, and I didn't make, the tour show right away. I eventually did, but I was rejected. And you know why? Because they said, "Oh, I wore these huge glasses. I didn't have the
Oh,
look,
wow.
right? I wasn't cute enough." Um, and and all those things started to form me, right? And help me
Hmm.
understand really who I was. I didn't change who I was necessarily, but I certainly understood the people around me. So my life study has been in learning people, right? And understanding the different personalities. That's why navigating this field that we're in now, with all, again, the racial strife and the pandemic and the people tripping with the loneliness and that kind of thing, I'm able to cope with it a little bit better because I've seen all these people in my life before, right?
Mm.
I'm just trying to make sure that in their trying to find themselves, they're not harming who I am and who I'm destined to become.
So, Yolanda, if someone would, I was about to say album. Ooh, if someone would like to get one of your CDs, I do have your website scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Is that the best way? I'm sure you're also on multiple streaming platforms as well.
Yes, yes. My website is a great place to get the actual hard copy of the CD, and I'll sign it for you. But I am on Spotify, on Pandora. You can get me on Amazon, and what else is out there? Tidal. I'm on all streams in that regard. And I will say this because I want to, because we haven't talked about it. The album that I'm getting ready to do, that I've recorded, is of Nina Simone music. And
Oh,
and if you talk about an activist, a woman who has made it very clear that part of her career, especially in the civil rights movement, was to make music for Black people. Uh, she has greatly influenced me. And in that regard, this music comes from the one woman show that was done this past year by Howard L. Kraft out of North Carolina. And that music, that motivation to record, had everything to do with what that music meant to me as an artist, but also to the world. Now, notably, the decision to record had nothing to do with what we're in now. But I think what's key is that for people who don't understand this, Black people have been living in this world of understanding of being the oppressed. Um, so much so that that music is always relevant, always. And I really hope now people who are not of color start to listen, right? Listen more and act, self-reflect, get their act together, figure it out.
You played Nina a few times, right? I know you did it in Howard's show. Did you also do another show? Or did Howard just bring it back? Because I feel like I've seen.
Good question. So the second show, it was a remount, a rewrite of the first. So if you saw the first and you didn't see the second Angela, oh, I'm just kidding. Um, the second show is so much more dynamic. Oh my God,
Okay.
it is. It's already tough doing a one woman show anyway, because you're
Mm-hmm.
90 minutes and you are telling a story and you are, you know, singing and going through all kind of emotions. This version of it is it's just much more. Gosh, she's an excellent writer. It's just much more
Oh yeah,
comprehensive.
Howard is just yeah, Howard is amazing. I remember seeing one of his early plays in 2005, I believe it was House of George, and then right up seeing that one and then the next one, and
He
I haven't
did
been able to catch them all lately, but
four
yes.
exactly. So, and this one is traveling. So I would say definitely go to my website because, you know, before I talk about the question that's asked about the album or the record or the CD, um,
What an eight track.
right, the cassette. Um, we're going to be doing. The show is coming back. So in
Okay.
2021, I have dates already that we'll be performing the piece, and it'll be great. And the music. What did I record? Why you have to go to my website and continue to follow me to find that answer, right? You can do the Instagram.
What a way to plug that website and that social media.
Hello, hello. But yeah, you can rest assured. It's going to be riveting. It's
All
exciting.
right.
If you ever see my show, I do sing every show that I do. There's a Nina Simone song. Yeah, on my Christmas album, I sang "Children Go Where I Send Thee," and I sang it like you sang it in church like a long time ago, which is a Nina Simone. It's not her song, but it's certainly one that she did a lot. But on my recent album, Yolanda, the first song is "Be My Husband," which is a Nina Simone song. And a lot of times, how I will open a show because it's just a statement. So her songs are statements. Her songs are motivational. Her songs
Mm-hmm.
are they're jugulars. They are relevant. Okay, I'm just kidding. They and I love her, um, and I'm grateful that I'm actually able to share her music.
Yeah, she's amazing. I saw now I can't remember. Of course, I would start talking about something I can't remember. It was a play about her, but it wasn't a solo play. I saw it at True Colors in Atlanta, and oh my goodness, what'd you
Four women.
say?
Were there four women in it?
Mm-hmm. That may have
I,
been the name of it. Was it Four Women? I don't. I don't even know.
I
But
can tell you
there wasn't.
the name of the show I'm doing is called No Fear. And
Okay,
I'm going to Simone.
so we're
So
gonna look out for that.
yeah,
No fear. All right, Yolanda, thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule to spend some time with us during Black Music Month here at the Angela Ray Show.
yeah. Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I hope we didn't go over too much time. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. Look, everybody's still hanging. Everybody's still asking questions. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but yeah,
No,
and I think that question that you answered about the contracts and that was very important. Tony and I kind of touched on that a little bit last night because yeah, it we're seeing it like you said in the unsungs and in these biopics. We see some of these early contracts, and I'm sure you may have seen the Clark sisters, and oh boy, seeing that contract that Miss Twinkie Clark signed early in her career, I was like, oh my goodness.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. That's when you get off the track of what your mission is, and you get enamored with the Cadillac that you can get. Well, you know, it's not worth it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
hard. Don't we all get distracted? That's why you have to surround yourself with good people and seek wise counsel to make sure you stay on track. So
Mm-hmm.
stay on track because we need you. We need Black singers. We need Black music. We need good music. So stay on track.
Stay on track. You all heard it from Miss Yolanda. All right, Yolanda, thanks so much. Have a great evening.
See you later.
All right, bye bye. All right, that is it for this Thursday. Looks like I have lost my little earpiece. This Thursday edition of the Angela Ray Show. As always, I would like to remind you of Ray of Motivation number 54. Cleaning a mirror will not change the person who is reflected in it. Until next time, I encourage you to go out and be the change.